Here's what we can say with full certainty about the incoming president and his administration. The unconventional will be conventional and oddly transparent in the process. Take a look at this scene last night. Donald Trump meeting with Mitt Romney, his bitter rival during the campaign, about becoming Secretary of State, dining out on young garlic soup, whatever that is, in public, for the whole world to see. And it looks like he's already got the former Massachusetts governor eating a little bit of crow.
I've had a wonderful evening with President-elect Trump. We had another discussion about affairs throughout the world, and these discussions I've had with him have been enlightening and interesting and engaging.
You want a little more transparency? Follow the real Donald Trump on Twitter. That's where he disclosed in a series of tweets that he will be leaving his business in total, he says, to his children, theoretically to avoid any conflict of interest. A news conference, The Fill in the Blanks, is scheduled for December 15th. And yet another tweet heralded the salvation of 1,000 manufacturing jobs which were bound for Mexico. On Thursday, Trump will visit the Carrier plant in Indianapolis as part of an unprecedented victory tour through Rust Belt states like Indiana and Ohio, which he carried in the election. Workers at the plant appear to be grateful for what he pulled off.
I would say just thank you for doing what you said you were going to do.
I don't really want to retire right now, so I'd like to go ahead and work a little longer. So yeah, it's a relief, not just for me, but for many of the younger people.
To dissect 22 days of the new sheriff in town, the Democrats sticking with the old one are Leah Wright-Rigueur, and assistant professor of public policy at Harvard's Kennedy School. Good to see you again, Leah. And Frank Phillips, the Boston Globe State House bureau chief. Hello there, Frank.
Hello, Jim.
I know Romney a little. You know Romney a lot from your work. How do you explain going from fraud and con man to last night, quote, President-elect Trump is the very man who can lead us to a better future? What happened? Did he have an epiphany? What happened?
Mitt Romney, well, for one, I think he saw Obama being very gracious, and I thought this is the bright side of what I would see with Romney, that he wanted to follow suit. But we also seen Mitt Romney flip-flop right here in Massachusetts. He ran as pretty liberal Republican against Ted Kennedy. He ran as a moderate in the race for governor, and he's flipped around and become a very conservative Republican.
So is it a polite term for opportunist? Is that what you're
You can use that word, and I would not contradict you on that.
So let me be positive for an odd second, since you were for a minute too. Maybe Donald Trump is saying, I'm not as thin-skinned as some people say I am. And maybe Mitt Romney is saying, listen, I couldn't stand the guy. He's president. I want to serve my nation. Is that plausible, or is that not pass the laugh test?
That does not pass the laugh test.
Why not? Why not? Why
I
not?
think we all saw that picture of them eating together, dining together last night, and what looked like, I think, terror in Mitt Romney's eyes.
You really
or
read
shame.
that?
Or something. There was something there. I mean, it could have been the
They
lights.
didn't kidnap him to get there. I mean, he chose to go to dinner.
But I think part of it is Mitt Romney understanding that there are certain things that he needs to do in order to be a finalist in, POTUS Celebrity Apprentice Edition.
So you think he's willing to essentially eat crow, as I said, to be the Secretary of State?
I think so. I think that this is so. One of the things that we've seen in that in entertaining Mitt Romney, Donald Trump is actually going against Steve Bannon and going in some respects against
Kellyanne
Conway and his base. Now it remains to be
Isn't
seen if he'll actually.
Isn't that a good thing, by the way? I mean, no one more viciously attacked him, I think it's fair to say, during the campaign than Mitt Romney, and he gave back as good as he got. If he does choose this guy, whatever the motivation, isn't that a good statement about Donald Trump's willingness to tolerate some level of disagreement in his administration, or no?
Maybe not. I mean, he has a whole bunch of Bush people in there as well. So I think it remains to be seen. And also, I mean, we have to, I think, wait. And one of the things that may emerge, I think, if Mitt Romney were to be tapped, is it would emerge. It would really play up the fractures that we see within the Republican Party. So it's an opportunity
Well, they differ
down
on
the
free
line.
trade. They differ on Russia.
They differ on
all those
everything.
things. Can we talk about the transparency thing? I have to say, it's not an original thought with me. I know that will shock you. But I saw some commentators. He was being trashed, Trump, and they said, people like you and me, to a degree, I'm a little later to this game than you, have been complaining. There's no transparency in these transitions. This is transparency, on steroids. We have that incredible video camera outside the elevators. He didn't meet with Romney at some secret location without even an announcement. He meets with him in a restaurant, Jean-Georges at Trump Tower or something. That's a good thing, is it not?
I think it is. It's a little chaotic, but we're just seeing it up front and close, and I think it's good. It's great to see these people walking out and having to explain or the press try to get to them, and you didn't see that in the Obama transition.
Or any other that I can't remember. I'm not even going to try you on this one. I'll try you on another positive thing. 1,000 jobs, the carrier thing. I mean, I heard a critic last night, some Democrats said, which I think is not very useful if you want to regain your power, well, he promised 2,000 jobs he'd save. He only saved 1,000. Well, for those 1,000, I assume they're pretty happy. And he's not president of the United States. That's not nothing, is it? Or is it?
No, it's not nothing, and I think we should say. I mean, it's good that 1,000 jobs were to be saved, but I think it's also worth thinking about some of the critics who have said, "Does this indicate?" I mean, he sat down. We actually don't know what he did to save those jobs.
We have no idea what he gave up for. That's right.
And one of the more salient criticisms that I've heard or concerns is, does this mean that companies can say, "Well, I'm threatening to go to Mexico," and Trump comes in and promises them whatever they need. And there we go. All of a sudden,
but the card he has, and we don't know if he used this. Apparently, this company, Carrier, which I was not aware of until a few days ago, has a huge amount of federal contracts.
Yes.
And it seems to me if you're president of the United States, particularly in a bullish mood, quickly, and you say, by the way, remember those federal contracts? I'm not so sure they're going to be happening again. He didn't. I mean, that's a pretty good bargaining chip, is it not?
Perhaps, but we don't know.
We don't know. Okay.
It's an Indiana company, right?
Yes,
it is.
And who's the governor
Mike
of Indiana?
Pence. Well, he couldn't save the jobs, though, when he was
governor.
Well,
he could with some tax breaks or whatever they wanted. They could have cut a deal. We don't know what that deal is.
Well, we do that here, too, do we not?
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Okay,
nothing wrong with it. It's just that we don't know what the deal was.
We don't know yet. So one of the odd parts of all the tweets, the one I would say, I know it's hard to rank them, that's been most ridiculed, was a couple of days ago. Millions of illegals, people voted illegally, and had they not voted, you're laughing, would have been won the popular vote as well. Now, everybody ridiculed that, but I think somebody you know as well may have clarified this. I want to know if it convinced you. Former Senator Scott Brown was on Boston Herald Radio today, and here, I guess, is the proof that all these people voted illegally. Here it is.
People from Massachusetts could have gone up and voted that day, and quite frankly, some do. It's well known. It's no secret.
Now, is that that pretty much? What do you?
I did not say. I don't listen to Boston Herald Radio.
I know, but it was live. So does that do it for you, or does that not do it?
Right.
Look at her too.
He's not known for his intellectual acuity, so he's just channeling Donald Trump. He's looking for a job, and he's not going to contradict the guy who could give him the what is it, Commissioner, Secretary
of Veterans. So he may lose that job to Sarah Palin. They're reporting today. Can we move to the Democratic?
They're two political intellectual giants.
Thank you very much. That was Frank Phillips who said that from the Boston Globe. I want to switch parties. I have to say, I don't get this at all. Yeah. Pretty crushing day on November 8th. The new leader in the Senate is Chuck Schumer, a guy from New York who has basically protected hedge fund managers from a tax increase. They've got a big loophole. Go to the West Coast. This morning, a 76-year-old woman, Nancy Pelosi, is reelected from California, another big-time blue state. In the 8 years she and Obama have been working together, 63 House seats have been lost by the Democrats. Let's actually, Steve Lynch is one of the people from Massachusetts who actually voted against it with Seth Moulton today. Here's what Lynch said before the vote was tallied. The old plan didn't work. So that is why I'm voting for change. I don't know how someone gets elected in the Midwest when they say, elect me, I'm going to make Nancy Pelosi the Speaker of the House. I don't know how we win with that image. How did the Democrats win with that image? It's same old, that at least appears to me just didn't work.
Well, I think it's loyalty. I think that she has an incredible following. Democrats within the House who will stand behind her no matter what.
Because she's a great fundraiser.
She's a great fundraiser, and she's also really loud when she needs to be on specific issues. So the interesting thing,
what has she won since Obamacare, which was 7 years ago, 6 years?
So if you actually look, I think if you actually look at who are the Dems who are kind of very publicly kind of screaming and yelling about things, Nancy Pelosi is usually in the middle of it.
She is. That is true.
She may be loud and wrong, or she may not be on the winning side, but she's usually there. But I think the interesting thing is that in challenging her, right, the opposition got over 100 votes, right? That's not normal, right? In other years, Nancy Pelosi would, maybe 40 people, maybe 30 people would vote against her.
I don't think they reached 100, but that was like 2-1 basically. It's 123 to something, yeah.
But it suggests that we're going to see, I mean, we've seen fissures within the Democratic Party for a while now. We're going to see this play out because in some respects, these people have nothing to lose.
We only have 15 seconds left. Speaking of nothing to lose, are Seth Moulton and Steve Lynch screwed? I don't know how Congress works in
Well, they've always
2016.
been on the fringe. I mean, they're outliers. So
Well, Moulton's only been there for years.
Yeah, and Lynch is always Steve Lynch.
Yeah.
He takes on a lot of people.
So they may pay a
and is
price.
willing to speak out about that.
Leah, nice to see you.
Always good
Frank
to be
Phillips, nice as always. Good to see
see
you.
you, pal.
Boston Globe. That's right.